Hello. So on this project, it's a marble mosaic install. And you see at that wood threshold, I have a full tile and a cut tile. And you work your way back. Just bear with me. I'm going to give you the rundown of this. And you see how my floor is leveled and my joints are all equal. I got a call to do this. At the time, I asked if they can wait, but I think the husband tried to make the attempt or they got somebody else. And a month later, I got a phone call and they asked if I can come here and do the thing for them. There's one thing that I did not do in here, and it was the prep of the shower. And also that curdy board was installed. I never did that. And the shower base mosaic, somebody else did that. I did not do that. The only thing that I did was the floor and the shower walls and the niche. This is a tile vent that I thought I'd give them a little something, a little bit of a touch there. And they actually really love that. I did the sills as well. They're going to trim that and they're going to paint this room as well. They decided to go with another color and they're going to finish off their trim and everything. And that's the wall that I did all those tiles for. And that's the shower base that I did not do. So I have to go around and make sure that they're grout to fill in some areas that I might have missed. You see, I didn't do that. I volunteered to tear it out and they said, no, it's okay. Can we just continue on? And I'm like, okay, no problem. But whoever did the mosaics on this, I was pretty impressed. They did a pretty good job. So at that bottom, I'm going to go and run down grout in a tube. It's called charcoal. To clean all that up, the grout. And I did all this in here, all the shower walls. The niche, there was a niche in there, but I tore it out and I refit everything properly. And so I'm going to go around, like I said, and touch up whatever. And also what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a translucent silicone on the corners, the niche, and everything. I gave him 2 shelves of his and hers, and the bottles in the center. Okay, we're getting there. And you see how all the joints are nice and tight, like I was saying earlier. Okay. So these are the sheets of marble. And I'm going to start installing this, but I'm going to show you how I gauge everything out. That's the direction I'm going to go with, all right? Not that way, because in the shower base, it's the opposite. So the first try is what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow that shower base. And I'm just going to line this marble hexes on the inside and get my mark. That way I know I can, when you're coming out of the shower, the floor and the shower base will be equal. So just put a mark there. At the tip of that. And just set that aside. And just grab your level. And I already marked it, but I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Just put your level right on that mark on that sill. And just mark it on the floor. Make sure you're leveled, all right? And this is just a stick I have. Usually when I do mosaics, I'll try and stay away from the tape measure. Because the stick is a good template for you. So I'm going to take that same mark, because this is a foundation wall. You know it's going to be true. And I'm just going to put that stick right up against that wall. And just put that mark there. I actually cut this stick earlier. So I'm just letting you know, if the stick is a little bit longer, it's okay. It's just a template, so I want to make sure my room is squared. So I'm going to use a stick for the template for mosaic gauge, and I'm just going to get my tape measure and put it against the one wall. And that is 52 3/4. And I'm just going to take it to the other side and make sure that other mark on that floor is 52 3/4. If you're off about a 1/4 inch on the other side, that's fine. There we go, guys. So I'm going to put 2 of those together. And the joints, they're about 1/16. So I'm going to use my spacers for that, all right? And that's my spacer. Those are 1/16. So where the other mosaics meet up, the other sheet, just put the spacers in there and make sure everything's tight. I'm just going to grab my level, and I'm just going to put it right there, make sure that everything's nice and square. Let me just get my camera here and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, you see how I have my 2 sheets and I just use the spacers to help me gauge everything? And just butt up your mosaics against that level. All right. So let's stay away from the tape measure, and let's just use this piece of wood. If you have a meter stick, that's great too. So I'm just going to butt that level on the other side to the points of the mosaic. And I'm just going to put my stick right there and make sure it's there tight. And then just grab your pencil, and on the other side of the tip of that mosaics on the hex, just place a mark. Now this will give you 2 courses. And that's your mark right there. I'll usually put finish. I'll write finish on it, or I'll just put an arrow. So you get two of that, two mosaics to that. Okay, so I'm using a 1/2 inch tile edge titanium. And you notice how my Detra isn't all the way to that piece of threshold. I've stayed back a little bit because the reason why is this hardwood is 5/8 thickness. It's not 3/4 inch. So I'm just gonna butt up that tile edge to meet up with the threshold, the wood threshold. So just chop yourself some paper, cardboard, sorry, until you hit that threshold flush with the metal. Try that first. All right. I believe I put 2 cardboards together to get that properly to that height. So on that mark, remember, we're gonna strike a chalk line. If you have a laser level, that's fine too, guys. You can do that. So I'm just gonna grab something to hold down that chalk line. If you have somebody to help you, that's perfect too. And just go all the way to the end of that mark right there, and we're gonna strike our first line. Let me just move this camera here for you so you have a better view of that. Right there. Now, mind you, if I would have done this job, I would have done a curbless. But unfortunately, whoever prepped it up, they didn't really think about it. So, but that's okay. I can make it look good for them. So I'm gonna grab that stick again. And we're gonna put that stick right, that mark right there where it says finish. And just let me put my cheaters on. And just place a mark right at the end. And you're gonna do the opposite side as well. Okay. Just like that, okay? And I'm gonna chalk another line. My mosaics, the second course will hit that line. All right. That wasn't so bad. And you see what I'm talking about? See how the tip is there? And you see the tip on the other side of that line? That's what you're looking for, okay? This will help you out. Now, mind you, this floor was pretty good. I just had maybe a 1/4 inch bow in the center. So I grabbed a 2x4, mixed some thin set, and I went all the way across to take those bows out. So I'm gonna cut this in half, all right? A full and a half at the doorway, remember? I already have some pre-cut, as you can see to your left, but I'm just gonna show you an example. And just like that. Now make sure you don't hit your blade on that full. Just follow that line. Just like that, okay? You see how I have a half cut and a full? I'm just gonna put an example of what I'm talking about. just like that. Um, the reason why mosaics are very tricky, if you have bows in your floor, your joints will be smaller. Sometimes you can offset things too. So I'm using Dietrich trowel for this. And remember, you always use a white modified cement, not unmodified, a modified. The reason why you use white for stone is because it can, if you use gray, it'll bleed through. And you don't want that. You want the stone to be in its natural state. So I'm just going to tuck some glue under here. You can use Allslet Schluter white or modified, or you can use LHT, or you can use Mapai Ultraflex 2 white, whatever your store carries, all right? Just make sure your tile edge is flush with that threshold. I always use a sponge and a clean pail of water. And the reason why you can't back butter this stone, so it's always good to remember to just soak it down a little bit. There's too many joints. If you start the back butter, it'll seep through to the other side and you're gonna make a mess. Okay. Just make sure you hit those tips on that line, all right? Always use your hand and push out forward, or not forward, just out all the time. And use your grout paddle and just push down on it. And just kind of go back and forth. Okay, there, that's a better view. Sorry, guys. Just like that, all right? And the reason why you want to kind of pull outwards is because you want to make sure the joint kind of like on the mesh swings out properly. Remember, the first course is always the toughest, so once you get started, it goes by quick. Just like that, guys. You don't want to use a thicker trowel is because if you use a thicker trowel, like a 1/4 inch, it'll seep through the joints and it's going to be one hell of a mess. And you want to stay away from that, okay? And once in a while, just clean up your edges. So when you come time to do that side, your stone won't be overstepping anything. It won't be higher than the next stone. So just keep everything clean, okay? I'm just gonna grab my sponge and I'm gonna wet that back again. And sometimes what I do is I just put it on the other tile and I slide it back until it falls into the pocket. All right. Your hands are your second eyes, so it's kind of feel to touch as well as using your grout paddle. Or you would call it a grout floater. Just like that, guys, okay? And I'm gonna use my spacers just to make sure my joints are perfectly, because you're gonna wanna, when you start the next course on the other side, you're gonna wanna make sure that all those joints are equally, okay? Once in a while, you gotta play around with it, and that way everything's nice and equaled out. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna start the second row, all right? I'm sorry, I will adjust my camera. Remember, use your hands, the palm of your hands and your fingertips. And do the same thing. I usually always do my spacers on each course that I do, horizontal and vertical. It's a little time consuming, but at the end, you'll be very happy with your work. Okay, and clean the snots off on the other side. Just make sure you're on those lines and use your spacers as well. And the palm of your hands and your floater. The reason why I do that, I want to make sure I'm tight to my floor. That's how you get a good floor. So you don't get your mosaics all over the place. If you ever seen a place where there's mosaics, you'll see you can actually kind of see the joint offset from the other mosaics. So this way you'll always be safe and you know everything will be true. It's just a matter of being patient and taking your time. Nothing should ever be a rush. All right. So I'm just going to time lapse and we'll get through this and I'll show you what else I do after this. The reason why I don't go to where you see all the taps and everything and the plumbing, I do that the next day because I'm going to be doing a little bit of cutting and everything, and it's better to come in the next day to get so far and fill in that gap. Okay, this is what I do. I go so far and I just put my level right on the tip of the mosaics and on that line, because I want to make sure that my tips are hitting that level, and that way I know I'm going to be safe for the next course. And you would do the same thing on the other side, okay? Just do that once in a while when you're laying your mosaics with your levels, and make sure you're on your lines and you'll be fine. Now, I'm not a big fan of high curves like that. So I much rather have a curbless than something like this. But like I said, that job was already done. And it's too late for that. I would have volunteered to take it out, but they much rather have that in. And I'm just going to take my camera and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, you see how everything is dead flush with everything? And the joints are equal to everything throughout the mosaics? Okay. On to the next step, all right? Okay, so you're gonna grab that stick again. All right? Now, what you're gonna wanna do is remember to put one spacer on that finish on the outside. So you're gonna add another 1/8 on that, okay? And just go to the other side and mark that as well. So what I'm doing is another 2 more row, and tomorrow I'm gonna come back and finish the both sides of that wall. When you're doing mosaics, you don't wanna struggle and get caught in corners and stuff like that. It gets very stressful, so it's better to always come back and finish off the next day. This way you won't screw anything up, all right? And just chalk that line again. And that's it, guys. Then you start doing the same thing. Now, I would start right where that just two mosaics, right against that one that you laid, and see if it works out to the outer line. If you know, you'll be fine. Thank you for hanging in there. I know it's frustrating. So please like, share, subscribe, and please come back. Thank you. Bye.